So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is the Mr. Media Interview, recorded live and broadcast live on blogtalkradio.com from the new media and baseball capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm getting hungry already. What do you expect? Today's guest... Sorry. A little mind meld there. Today's guest is Joe Ariel, founder and CEO of Eats Media Group, which publishes a regional network of Eats magazines and College Eats magazines, as well as producing Eats.com. And unless I'm mistaken, we're going to talk a lot about food. Joe?
We sure are. Thanks for having us on, Bob.
Thanks for being here. How are you?
I'm pretty well. How are you?
I'm good. So, Joe, it's lunchtime, and I'm going to be pretty hungry by the time we're done. What's the CEO of Eats Media cooking today?
Well, for breakfast, I'm on a health kick because it's the summertime, so I stick with the egg whites in the morning right now. We're really excited as we're expanding. As you know, the site, the recent site just launched on April 1st. A lot of commotion, a lot of really good press, and a lot of users who, just as you are very hungry.
I was hoping for, maybe some sushi, frankly, for lunch. So if any of my local sushi establishments are thinking that they'd like to deliver some, today would be a good day.
Sure would. And we're going to actually have, you're in Tampa, St. Pete, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to actually have a physical copy. You guys have some restaurants that are on the site, but you're going to have a physical copy in hand hopefully in about 3 or 4 months. We've just gotten started there with the publication, so we're pretty excited about that.
Oh, so I wanted to ask you about that. So the print version of Eats is it a franchise situation?
At the present time, it's not. We have a lot of people that are interested in franchising it to certain different markets around the country, and we are entertaining those coming up in 2009. But as of right now, we have offices in New York, Miami, and D.C., and we publish in each of those markets, along with 12 different college markets where we produce personalized college guides for a bunch of different schools, mostly in the Northeast. We do Yale and GW and Columbia, for example, and we also have some in South Florida as well, University of Miami and Florida International.
So these are company-owned at this point?
Yeah. At this point, all of the magazines are company-owned. But like I said, we're already fielding calls in a lot of different markets in Florida and around the New York, Massachusetts area and so forth about potential franchises going forward. But right now, they are all company-owned.
Very good. Well, I've got questions for you, but I see that our web chat that accompanies the live interview is already pretty active. And there's already 2 calls here waiting on the board. So let's see. Let's take a chance and see if someone's got a question for you. Hi, do you have something you want to say or a question for Joe Ariel? Hello? All right, we'll try another one. Hi, do you have a question for Joe Ariel? Joe, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
That's weird. All right, well, there's all these calls up on the board. If you,
I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, if you want to call in and ask a question of Joe, we'd love to have you. The number is 646-595-3135. I just figured they were for you. Maybe they were bill collectors for me. So, how do you come by this interest? Are you a foodie?
Yeah, I am a foodie. When we originally got started back in 2002, the concept was, I like to eat out a lot. I was working with my business partner on Wall Street, and we were actually roommates at the time in New York City. And, every day for lunch, filtering through a stack of, menus with spaghetti stains on them, dropping them all over the floor. At home, opening the door, menus underneath the door at the doorstep. And, in New York City, everybody orders out or does takeout almost every meal. And the concept was there has to be a better way, one, for the consumer to actually receive this information, and 2, for the restaurants to actually get their menu out there. And the concept was if we put together a good-looking, glossy magazine, the restaurants would pay the money because they're paying to get their menus out there anyway, and consumers would love it because it would have a stack of their menus for their area, some which they know and some actually introducing them to, so they don't have to have that annoying menu drawer anymore. So that's how the concept started in 2002, and it was strictly takeout at the time. As we grew, we met a lot of top restaurateurs who loved the concept of a free local restaurant guide, and they wanted to participate, but they had fancy upscale restaurants, and some of these guys are actually celebrity chefs, like a Bobby Flay, for example. And we'd meet them at different conventions, and they wanted to be a part of what we're doing, thought it was great for the restaurant industry, but there was no room in the magazine because it was strictly a takeout guide at the time. So we eventually changed the format about 2 years in, where it has the current format, which is a fine dining section, a nightlife section, and a takeout and delivery or casual dining section. So everybody has a place on the local level to market their restaurant and market their menu to their core constituents, the people that live in their immediate area.
I know we've had publications here over the years. As you mentioned, I'm in the Tampa-St. Pete area. I think there was one that came out of Miami. It was like Richard's Menu Guide or something, and they endeavored to publish menus, and I thought it was a great idea, and unfortunately it didn't last that long. There's great ideas and there's good business sense, but I've got a question for. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that there's when we first came up with the concept, we thought it was we came up with the next unbelievable idea that's never been thought of, and it turned out that in our research in the years in the last 6 years or so, we've noticed there have been certain people in certain pockets of the country that have started things as we have, and I don't know if it's the rapport or the style of the magazine. I don't know if it's the pricing structure or the fact that we actually have national advertisers participate as well to subsidize some of the cost for the local restaurateur. But for whatever reason, we have had success in a lot of these markets where people, tried it, but it hasn't really panned out.
I think particularly, as someone who travels a handful of times a year for business, but if you're going into an area where there's a lot of either business travel or leisure travel, if you're going to be in a hotel, I mean, you want to have a magazine or a book or something that's got all those menus in it, so you can decide where you want to go. Because I know that the thing that drives me crazy when I'm in a town I haven't been in before and I don't know where to go is, you have to make your decisions based on just signs on restaurants or somebody's recommendation. I'd like to see a menu before I get there. I'd like to know that they have super crunch roll that I'm craving, or whatever the case may be.
Right, and that the price structure is not entirely out of whack, and then especially when it's from a source that is a brand that is somewhat trusted to a certain extent.
Right.
That's definitely helpful. And it's interesting that you bring that up. I was actually just in D.C., Alexandria, yesterday for a meeting, and we were staying in one of the hotels. And we actually don't have a magazine for Alexandria, although we do for D.C., and we were showing the head concierge some of the materials, and he was like, this would be a no-brainer. We need to have these in our hotel immediately. So, the hotels love it, and we try to get them as many as possible. At the same time, we have, constraints as far as our distribution circulation. But in a market like Miami, for example, we have great relationships and contracts with all of the major hotels in that South Beach area to distribute, and they love the magazine. Can't keep them on the shelves.
I think that would be big here. We've got a question from the web chat. Johnny RM wants to know when you're coming to Key West. Our Florida expansion is underway, and we do a great publication to Miami and Coral Gables and for the University of Miami. Like I said, the Tampa-St. Pete area is underway, should be out pretty soon, and we're looking at the Orlando and the markets in the Keys, hopefully at some point in 2009. So we'll keep them posted, and all information will be on the site as far as the new magazines. But hopefully at some point in 2009. Very good. And
on the website, the data on the website should be there by the end of this year. We currently have about 125 cities and colleges on the site. A restaurateur in any market can add their restaurant, as can a consumer to the site, as can a user. But as far as full data, we should have full data for Key West at some point in the next 2 or 3 months.
Oh, very good. Johnny should be excited, and I'm sure Johnny will let us know. Oh, they're already discussing it on site. So, yeah, the web chat is an amazing tool. We've got a couple more calls. Let's see if they're here this time. Hi, do you have a question or comment for Joe Ariel from Eats? It could be we're having trouble with the switchboard. Let's try this other one. Hi, do you have a question or comment for Joe Ariel? Huh. Yeah, well, all right, we'll keep moving. Keep trying. I don't know why we're having that problem, unless they're just tuning. Maybe they like to listen on the phone line instead of, well, who knows. So what do you like to eat?
What do I like to eat? I like to eat a lot of different foods. It's funny, people ask what my favorite food items are, and I'm actually a Jewish guy, but all of my favorite items are the most unkosher items that you can imagine. So as far as items, I would say barbecue ribs. I love nachos supreme, bacon cheeseburgers, cheesesteaks. I also do like corned beef and pastrami sandwiches. So that's, I guess, my one kosher item there. But as far as cuisines, I love Southern cuisine, Mexican food, Middle Eastern, Greek, Italian. How about you?
I'm with you on the pastrami, corned beef, crab, lobster, barbecue, sushi. I'm in the midst of a very long sushi run. It's like Saturday night has got to be sushi these days.
That's the way it goes. There's ups and downs in certain runs. I remember a couple of years ago I was in a big Thai craze, and now I'm not so into Thai. But anytime I see or smell pasta in sight, that's like my new thing.
Absolutely. All right, let's give the phone line one more try, and then maybe we'll have to give up. Hi, do you have a question or comment for Joe Ariel? Okay, this is the part where you call in, you dial the phone, and then you say something. All right, and if the problem is on the blogtalkradio.com end, I apologize, but I am going to have to hang up again. Hello. Okay, might be a network problem. Joe, you are, from what I understand, you are a former Wall Street guy, and you mentioned something about that. Where did you work, and how is your life different today from back then?
Yeah, well, after school, I actually, before going on to Wall Street, I worked a year for the New York Knicks in the marketing department. And it was actually the year that the Knicks went to the championship in '99. They actually lost to the Spurs. And I loved the marketing aspect of it, but I also realized that I wanted to make money. And Wall Street was booming at that time, so I transferred over to CIBC Oppenheimer in private client services, where I was an advisor for a couple years, and had a great time. Learned that picking up the phone, you can get in touch with anyone you want to, and love the business and the excitement of Wall Street. But I did realize shortly thereafter that I wanted to do something for myself and use some of that creativity that I had. So after about 2 years, that's when, at the age, I guess I was 25 or 26 at the time, switched over actually while still at work, pitched different business ideas to a bunch of different friends. And one of my friends and the co-founder, Derek Beckman, called me after we had one of these conference calls where I shared the idea with a bunch of people. And he said, let's do it. Let's get started now. And within a week or two, we actually went out and started pitching restaurants before, no publishing experience, no direct marketing experience. And I still remember to this day, the restaurant was Alibaba's on 34th Street and 3rd Avenue. And he signed on the dotted line a year contract right then and there. And we knew that we had to learn how to publish a magazine pretty quickly.
Well, tell me about that. I mean, what have you learned about publishing that you did not anticipate? What's the good and the bad and the ugly?
Well, I will say, just as far as starting a venture, whether it's publishing or not, the first 2 years, it's awfully tough. And we didn't have much of savings. We didn't raise any investment. And, people admire what you're doing, but to a certain extent, they also think you're absolutely insane. So the first few years, lots of friends of mine making a lot of money, going on a lot of trips, and for a few years, we just totally shut down to the world around us, and couldn't pay rent for a while. I remember one time our landlord, we were 3 months behind, and we were in this little walk-up. He started banging on the door, throwing rocks at the window, and we shut all the lights off and ducked down for about an hour to elude him. So it's tough to start a business with no capital. And at the end of the day, you just have you and your team for those first few years. I mean, there's certain people, family, friends, they'll give you the support, but at the end of the day, you have to find it from within to get past that. And if you know it's right, you just have to fight onwards. And fortunately, after a couple years, things started turning around, and we started expanding, and people started believing in the idea on a larger level. And things to a certain extent are easier now as the name is out there, as the brand, has been given birth to in New York, D.C., and Miami, and these different colleges. And it's a different game, and there's definitely different stresses. But my thing would be in those first few years, it's tough, and you just have to buckle down and stay focused and put your head down. You can't think about what your friend has or where your friends are going or what people are saying. You just have to focus on your mission. And
do you have concerns about being in print these days when people are just running and screaming from print?
Yeah, and that's a question that a lot of people bring up to us, but it's interesting. For us, it's, you see the trend out there with a lot of the newspapers and so forth, but for us, it's actually the opposite. Building out this website and the technology behind it and the marketing of it, that's very expensive and very costly. And one day that money will be made back, but that costs a lot of money to do. Our print publications generate money. So for us, do we hear restaurant clients that are interested in the web more than they were? Absolutely. And that's why we have the website. But as far as, print has created cash and created the revenue for us so that we could actually build this website, and it has funded a lot about the operation. So do you hear more people that are moving out of print? Sure. But for us, the magazines are just as profitable, if not more so, than they ever were. And the interesting thing is, people thought this was a great concept when we started. I understand it for New York, maybe Chicago, but what about these other markets? We've noticed the exact opposite. Our magazines are more profitable and more popular on a per-page basis in the Miami market, in the Washington, D.C. market. And we think a lot of that is because those restaurants have set aside advertising budgets to market their restaurants. And, our concept is this fully encompassing restaurant marketing solution. And they're buying into it, where in New York City the rents are so astronomical that, in essence, that is their advertising budget and their rent all balled up into one.
This is, I think one of the differences between the way you're doing this and maybe the way other people have done it in the past is you're treating it like a business. Other people may have treated it like a hobby or an extension of their interest in food. And I guess if you're going to do something like this, you really have to do it as a business.
Yeah, you have to do it as a business, and I think one of the big differences, and we found out about some people even in New York in our backyard that were doing this when we started. You can't see it on a short-sighted basis. You have to see it big term. You have to see it long term. You have to get some of the big advertisers to participate as well, because at the end of the day, restaurants have cash flow issues, and you have to make this work for them. And in order to do so, you really have to get some of the nightlife establishments, get some of the liquor companies, get some of the Coca-Colas to advertise. And that makes it something that the restaurants can do, and it makes it profitable for us, so it makes sense for us. The advertisers love it because this is the type of publication that if people have it, they're not reading it one time and chucking it in the garbage. It's more of a reference guide that they're holding on to and putting in that menu drawer, and hopefully getting rid of all those spaghetti-stained menus.
Now, as a guy who has years of experience in being in local and regional magazines, and I've published and I've edited and I've written for, restaurants are notorious for not paying their bills. Do you want to contradict that, or do you want to confirm that?
You know what? We love our restaurateur clients, but I can't contradict that. The restaurant industry, there's a lot of turnover. And it is a challenge to stay on top of a lot of restaurants and make sure that you get paid. We do try to get the monies before we actually go to print, which I think differentiates us from a lot of other publications. We will work with certain clients if they have certain constraints, but it is a challenge, and we try to minimize it, through a bunch of different measures. But it's definitely a challenge and a cost of doing business in this space.
I remember getting paid. I published a regional magazine for about 8 months back in 1985, 86, 87, I don't know, somewhere in the mid to late 80s. And I remember it was a place called Tummy Temptations. And it was these two brothers. It was in Clearwater, Florida. And if anybody listening knows them and wants to tell a story on them, that'd be fine. And they had a great idea. I mean, they wanted to do the buffet thing, but really do it nice. And they had this long, narrow retail space. But it was we got the ad from them, and they they were pleading poverty after the first one ran, and it was like, well, will you take some script? And for everybody who doesn't know, script is basically, they give you a piece of paper that says you have so much credit we couldn't use in a lifetime all the script that they wind up pawning off on us. But you get to the point where you like the guy, and you feel bad for him, and you like the concept, and you're actually eating in the place. But man, it was tough. It was tough relying on restaurateurs for a living. I don't envy you that part, because boy, it seems like every single one of them is just a total character.
They are characters. They are negotiators, and a lot of them want you to do trade accounts instead of actually paying. But unfortunately, the trade accounts don't pay the printing bill or the graphic designers. So
funny how they don't get that.
Yeah.
Well, let me give out our phone number again. The web chat is remarkably chatty today. People, Johnny RM and Susan Anonymous, having a great conversation. So if you tune in for anything, open up the web chat and see what they're talking about. And if you want to give us a call and you've got a question for Joe Ariel, founder and CEO of Eat Magazines and Eat.com, give us a call, 646-595-3135, and hopefully the phones will be working a little better.
Slight correction, Eats Magazine, Eats.com.
Eats. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Eats Magazine and Eat.com.
Eats.com.
Eats.com.
Yeah. EATS.com. No problem.
Oh, it's so confusing. We don't want to give any extra press out to that other site.
Yeah, I think Eat.com is actually Ragu, or one of the spaghetti sauces that acquired.
Oh, well, that wouldn't be so bad. At least it's not 1-800, porn eat or something.
Yeah, not to my knowledge.
No, hopefully not. And so, are you? We've got a lot of people listening. So, you are looking at some point in the future at franchising, or you're going to continue? Tell us a little more about where that's going.
So it's going to be a little bit of both. We are going to expand the magazine into certain markets that we see fit. But at the same time, if we find the right partners in many of the different markets, especially the secondary markets, we are very interested in expanding the concept. In the past 6 years, we've created what we call a business in a box, and we've learned, through the hardships and the challenges and the positives and so forth, what it takes to do this and how to make things as efficient as possible. And we want to, share that wealth to really grow the concept, grow the brand outside of our current markets. So we are definitely open to potential partners, and we will probably get started with that late 2008 and early 2009. So.
And can someone reach you through the site? Yeah,
the best way is through the site, and you can just email, info@eats.com, and we'll have someone get back to you, hopefully in the near term.
Cool. We had a question from the web chat. L Boogie One wants to know if you can offer some restaurant tips. He or she is in New York and would love to know a good barbecue restaurant.
A good barbecue restaurant in New York. Barbecue has actually been one of the latest crazes in New York City. So there's been a ton of restaurants that have opened recently. But I would say some favorites off the top of the head is Hill Country in the Chelsea area, Blue Smoke for kind of an upscale barbecue experience in the Gramercy area. Those would be some recommendations. And if you want something really cheap, $5 chickens and ribs, Dallas Barbecue is well known for quick takeout, inexpensive stuff.
Mm-hmm. I had noticed that. I was up in the city about a month ago, and there were enough barbecue places wherever I was that I actually took notice, and I thought, I don't remember seeing a lot of barbecue in Manhattan before.
Yeah, no, there's tons. And you know what? I forgot about one uptown that is probably my favorite, Dinosaur Barbecue. Not too far from the Columbia University campus. They actually started in Syracuse, but it's great barbecue, great pulled pork, great ribs, and an Eats client.
Well, of course, you got to get them mentioned, no, don't you?
Of course.
L Boogie One says thank you. So there, you've made someone very happy. Are there perks to publishing a restaurant-oriented and food magazine? Do you get to eat out an awful lot?
Yeah, you get to eat out a lot. It's challenging when you try to stay healthy because eating out all the time is not the healthiest thing you can do. But yeah, to your point, with Tummy Temptations, there's a lot of restaurants that we have where we have, different accounts, and a lot of restaurants that want to, offer the staff dinners and lunches, and so there's definitely perks, and anyone, that works in our office knows that every Tuesday morning is bagel day, and every Friday we order lunch from different restaurants in the neighborhood that send just a bunch of food over for everyone to get stuffed on.
Are these client restaurants, or are these just...
Yeah, it's usually client restaurants, and sometimes it's just a different restaurant that wants to get some press and says we have the best, burritos in New York, and they'll send a bunch of stuff over. So it's usually clients, but sometimes people are trying to court our editorial staff. And
shameless, absolutely shameless. Imagine that. It's like listening to your favorite radio station, and in the middle of the morning show, some restaurant sends over like a ton of food, and you have to listen to them, licking their fingers and chomping and...
No, it's fun, but it's challenging when you walk around and you're trying to be healthy, and there's just plates of cupcakes and brownies and jelly beans scattered throughout the office. It is oftentimes tough to say no.
Well, I have another request for you from the web chat. Lawyer would like to hear recommendations of some good restaurants on Long Island.
Good restaurants in Long Island.
Is that like military intelligence? It just doesn't exist?
Well, I will. No, there are actually some really good restaurants. There was actually a great sushi restaurant that I ate at. Actually, I think I remember the name. I think it's Kanoyama. Not exact. I think it was in Babylon. Unbelievable sushi, not very expensive, really, really good. And then actually this past weekend out in the Hamptons, if you go really far east, a restaurant called Trata, Trata, great Greek restaurant. They actually have one in the city as well. Great Greek salad. They had these zucchini chips that were just to die for. You dip it in this like yogurt sauce, and they have blackberry martinis, which were just unbelievable.
Interesting.
And that's in Watermill.
What is the strangest thing that you've had to eat since becoming a food publisher, so to speak?
Well, I'd have to think back a little bit, but I will say in recent memory, in the last 2 months, we had a jelly bean company in which we actually did a brief article on our Foodie news clip on our website, and I guess the jelly beans are made for kids, and there's kind of some trickery in there where some of them are like wild cherry flavored, but then there's also like garbage dump flavor and vomit flavor, and they got me on camera actually popping in what I thought was like one of the apricot flavored ones, and it was actually the puke flavor, and it tasted exactly like puke.
Oh!
And they got a picture of me. They also got a picture of our art director, like literally gagging at the flavor of it, because we put everyone in blindfolds to try it. So in the last 2 months, that was the most hideous thing I would say I've tried.
Wasn't there I should get my daughter in here to confirm this, but I'm thinking that there was a scene on a train in one of the Harry Potter movies where they bought some jelly bean type product from the guy taking the cart through the train, and it was the kind of thing where you popped them into your mouth, and then they had like that kind of flavor, like puke or really bad flavors. And 1 minute they're like swimming. Oh my God, this Dr. Pepper flavored jelly bean is so good, and then they pop the next one, and it's like, oh, vomit.
Yeah, I think this might be the same brand. We'll actually post the name of the site to our website. But yeah, that's exactly what this was.
Oh man, I know. I was in Brazil in May, and you can't. Everything is literally in Portuguese, so you really, unless you speak Portuguese, and I don't, you're kind of taking a real risk in terms of ordering things, but you got to eat, and I was pleasantly surprised how many things I pointed to and tried that were quite tasty, and it was quite a relief. But I would imagine that you and your editors and your editorial people are in a position where you're expected to probably try an awful lot of things. Yeah,
we are. Well, my question for you: did you know what it was you were eating? Or it just tasted
No, in
good
some cases I never did, and it's too bad because there were some tastes that were really, really good. Mostly, in my case, they tend to be like baked goods. I was in Copacabana Beach, And I loved that there was like every block had like 2 bakeries, and I love fresh baked goods. So I would just point and I would just be trying everything. But I could never go back and ask for it again because I had no idea what it was. And I couldn't, I didn't write down the thing. So
baked goods are not that scary. There's, live animals a little more scary.
Well, true. Someone in the web chat says I ate fried chicken feet once. Well, okay, okay.
To this point, there's actually a restaurant in New York City that's just opening or just opened. It's called Bray or Bry, and it's a South African restaurant. And apparently they're serving ostrich and zebra and some strange things over there.
Wow. So
we're going to probably check it out. But I am not one of those people that will try anything.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I was in Brazil, and I had taken the attitude when I went down there, I'm just going to try things that I wouldn't normally try, in Louisiana, perhaps, but I'll try.
Yeah.
Let me give out our number one more time. We're going to change gears a little bit. If you want to ask a question or have a comment for Joe Ariel, founder and CEO of Eats Magazines. Am I getting it right now? And Eats.com?
You are on it.
Okay. Give us a call, 646-595-3135. Now, we made mention, but we didn't really get into it. In April, you launched Eats.com. What do you offer on the website that web surfers and foodies can't get elsewhere?
Yeah, we're actually really excited about this aspect of our business because we basically had a vision for this, which was, one, a search portal for restaurant listings and information that is fully comprehensive. Where if you're going to New York or you're going to Miami or you're going to the Hamptons or you're going to the Keys, you could find information about every restaurant that's in there. And let's say you're going to New York City and you're going to Greenwich Village. You want Italian food. You type New York, Greenwich Village, Italian food, and really the clean, clear results of the top restaurants are the ones that come up. So this portal of information that basically aggregates and consolidates a lot of this useful restaurant information that people want is one core function of the site. And the second is, I love to say restaurants are the new Broadway and dining is now entertainment. Everyone, whether you're in New York, whether you're in St. Pete, I went to school in Nashville, Tennessee, people are real foodies and they're really passionate about restaurants and going out and knowing the new restaurants and having favorite dishes. And people want to keep a journal on the restaurants they go to and the restaurants they want to go to and the cities they want to go to try new restaurants. So the second core component of our site is a social network for foodies or dining enthusiasts, where people can actually create their own profile page very easily. They can list restaurants that they're fans of. They can read other people's reviews. They can write reviews. And they can keep tabs of their favorite restaurants, where you can actually have a list, in order. These are my 20 favorite restaurants nationwide. And the neat thing about that is we did a little research on this, and the number one medium that people use to find information on restaurants is the Internet. And the number one trusted source that people go to for restaurant recommendations that they're going to attend is their friends. So the point of our site is to combine those two to have an informative portal of information on the web where people can actually see where their friends and friends of friends are eating. And I always use, our VP of marketing, his name is Jonathan Mark. You check out his page if you're going to New York City. He has great taste in restaurants. So when I'm going out to a new restaurant on a Friday or Saturday night, since I know his taste is similar to mine and he has great taste, I will actually search his page to see different restaurant selections that he's gone to that I haven't, knowing that I trust those more than, Frank Bruni or Gourmet Magazine, because I know the guy and I know his taste. So it's, it's the Internet and it's the community of friends and trusted recommendations. And, if we can combine those successfully and continue to grow the way we are, then we're going to build the site that we always dreamed of.
Now, just to show people how easy this is, while we've been talking, I signed up as a member of Eats.com. So I'm into the site. Tell me where I should go take a look at.
Are you traveling anywhere soon?
Only in my mind.
Okay, so you're on the home page right now, or you're on that profile page?
I'm on the profile page.
Okay, so the first thing that I like to do when getting started is so that you can also network with other users is to actually fill out that profile page. So I don't know, have you been to New York or Miami anytime recently?
I was in New York about a month ago.
Okay, any favorite restaurants you have there that come to mind?
Yeah, Joe Robuchon was pretty good.
Okay. So what I would do, of these restaurants that are your favorites, and it can be very high-end restaurants, and also, there's a place called Mamoun's Falafel, 2 blocks away from the office, that, for $2 has the best falafel you've ever seen, and there's lines, out the door at all times. And you can keep a journal of those restaurants, high-end, low-end, medium-end, and, some nightlife places. So the first thing I would do is start going to those restaurant pages, and you'll see a link that says Add to Favorites. And then you start building out that profile page.
Okay.
In addition, if you had a good or bad experience, or somewhere in between, you can leave a review for that restaurant as well, and that becomes useful for a lot of people. And a lot of times, what if I want to look you up? Can I find you? Is there some way to search? You sure can. You can click on. Do you see where it says Food and Friend Finder? The search box at the top.
Food and Friend Finder.
Maybe actually go to the home page, or just click on.
Let's go home. It's probably not showing up because I have no friends.
Well, I'm going to friend you right now.
So we can. Okay, it's kind of like it's a social networking kind of thing where
right. You can find if you know who's on the site, you can search them. If you go to the Food and Friend Finder, which is our search box,
I see it now. Yeah.
You can click on restaurants or members. If you click on members and you write either the person's real name or their screen name, in my case, it's Big Joe, 2 words.
Big Joe. Rather full of yourself there, huh, Joe? All right.
I should be the only eater that comes up.
Yep, there you are, Big Joe. So I click on your highlighted name, I guess?
You can actually click on Add to Friends. Yeah, if you want to see what I'm all about in my restaurants, click on my highlighted name. If you trust me already and you want to add me to friends, you can just click right on that link.
Favorite restaurant, Nobu, Miami Beach. Yeah,
people make fun of me for that because I say it a lot, but I love that restaurant. It's nice, light, healthy, and it's the scene over there is just unbelievable.
And folks, you gotta sign in and go to Big Joe's page and check out this picture of him. It looks like he should be on Entourage. The sunglasses and the we try to be head,
We try to be a little entertaining over here in our pictures.
So this is cool. Okay, so
and you can also. I was going to say you can also, in addition to favorite restaurants, you can also see places where people want to visit next. You can see their reviews. We actually call the wish list. That's the restaurants that you want to go to that you haven't been to just yet, and then you can keep tabs of your friends as well. And the neat thing is one, you can go after people that are already your friends that are on the site, but the other thing is if you see people that have similar taste and have written similar reviews to similar restaurants and have shared the same experiences, you can actually friend and network with them on recommendations wherever they live or places they've traveled as well.
I see in the web chat, Johnny RM agrees with me. He says he does look like he should be on Entourage. Now, I'm looking here, one of your friends is Carrie, and she's written, this is a couple months ago, but she wrote, if you think I'm not going to say this right, bar zucchini is just okay, you should try the orecchiette with cauliflower and breadcrumbs. I was practically licking the bowl. So I read that and I think, okay, I can't pronounce it, but now I want to try that.
Yeah, no, it sounds pretty good. So what happened right there, and that's actually a great example of how this social networking goes for restaurants. So I actually wrote a review on Bars to Zucchini, and I didn't like it, and apparently she loved it. So she then, that's called writing on the wall. She then wrote on my wall, giving me a recommendation from shared experience. Obviously hers was a lot better than mine was. So that being said, that place is actually a block away from my apartment, so I will try it again based on Carrie's recommendation to me.
That's reasonable. And
I'll give it a shot.
It seems like if you are comfortable using things like Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, you should feel pretty much at ease with the technology at work here. So I don't know, folks. Maybe you guys on the web chat should let me know. Do you think I should make Big Joe a friend of mine on the site, or what do you think? I'll let the web chatters decide if I should take that giant leap. Do you have a lot of chefs, a lot of restaurant people participating here, or is it mostly just foodies?
It's a combination of both. When we started out, at first it was foodies who got the word, and then all of a sudden we had a big launch event. We had some celebrity chefs there, and the word kind of spreads through that community. And so a lot of people now are chefs and restaurant owners as well. There's a lot of restaurants that want to participate and advertise on the site, so you see their listing more frequently. So every day we get between 5 and 10 requests from restaurants or chefs, to be placed more prominently somewhere on the site. But just as you see that eaters link at the top, at some point soon we're going to have one specifically for chefs where you can actually search bios and photographs and information from, not just celebrity chefs, but chefs nationwide. I think it'll be a great portal and networking tool for chefs as well to network amongst each other and with their eaters.
I will tell you that so far the view in the web chat is that you're a little scary looking in that picture, but that your restaurant list is pretty awesome, and that people seem to trust your opinion. So, okay, folks, thank you for your opinions. I think I will take a chance, and I will
take a risk.
I will ask to be Joe's friend. Big Joe, you can hear me typing. Please let me be your food friend. Okay.
So now the question is, do I accept your friendship? Let's put that on the web chat.
All right. What do you guys think? Should he accept? I am kind of a media guy, so people usually run. So what do you think? We'll let you decide for Joe now on this too. Yep. Friendship pending acceptance. And I should ask. I gather. I think I know this because I just went through it. There's no charge for joining. The site.
Absolutely no charge. And there never will be.
Are you making money yet on all this?
We're making money on our platform in general. So through the magazine, like I said, it's been profitable and it has made sense for us, and it's got us to that point over the first 4 or 5 years where we could, tee up to actually build this website. The website obviously takes a lot of money and technology being built and created, and more substantial workforce. So, the first year or two of a website is cash flow negative, but we're able to tee that up with the cash flow positive side of the magazine together. So.
Oh, what's this? I have a friend request. Elzan1 requesting to be my friend. Well,
already?
I think I know who that is. All right, I'll have to accept. See, you had your chance to be my first friend.
Oh, who is LV1?
I think that's our friend Lauren.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you had your chance to be my first friend, and Lauren beat you to it.
I know, and now since she got you, I want you. So I just.
Oh man.
But you got to put a picture up there. It's a weird hamburger-looking thing with a pickle. Is your current picture?
Is that what I am? Well, I'll when we get done, I'll put up a real picture or the Mr. Media logo or something. I'll do something. I promise.
That works.
So let me give out the number one more time. We're going to wrap it up in a minute or two here, but if you would like to call and talk or make comment or exchange recipes. Now, you know what? Skip that. With Joe Ariel, founder and CEO of Eats Magazines, College Eats, and Eats.com. Last chance to get a phone call in, 646-595-3135. I know that a lot of people, when we do these daytime shows, a lot of people are listening at work, and you want to call, but you can't call, and, well, too bad. So
pick up the phone.
What's ahead? Tell me about the next 5 years for your company. Where do you think it's going to take you? Yeah,
I mean, we want to be the site that is the source for dining enthusiasts everywhere. So the information source and social networking portal for the restaurant world. And like I said, in the next 3 months or so, we are going to be having 90% of the listings nationwide. So where right now we have 50 cities and 75 college portals on our site, we are expanding nationwide in the near term before the end of this year. And, a lot of people say to us the international market is intriguing because when you go to London or you go to Brazil, or you go to Costa Rica, you want to know about the restaurants. And foodies don't want to just know about the restaurants in their town, but in all these different travel destinations. You're going to Cape Cod. You want to have some information. You're going to the Keys. So we think there's an intriguing market there as well for this information where people can network and communicate and find information. And it's not just information for our users because we also want to be a portal and aggregator of a lot of this data that comes from other sites. There's going to be certain people in Sao Paulo who are going to cover the restaurant world more frequently than we can. We want to partner and link with them so that the user can have the best experience and see all the different blogs, all the different articles that really incorporate to that restaurant or that neighborhood. And there's no one out there that's really doing that. So we think that, there's a huge market to become that site. And the other exciting portion of our business for any of the restaurant owners that are listening that we haven't really spoken about is, the restaurant marketing end. We have really two sides to the business. There's the consumer side and making this the best experience possible for them. And at the same time, restaurants don't have a one-stop shop where they can market what they're doing, where they can put their menus, their photos, people can do online ordering, and so forth. We want to create that solution where at the end of the day, a restaurant knows that they're going to market, and instead of dealing with 10 different people doing 10 different things, they can go to a one-stop shop and have someone that's going to listen to their concerns, hear what they need, and market properly to what they're going to do. To that point, today is actually our first day of filming for Eats TV. So one of our reporters, Aaron Frankel, is actually out meeting with a bunch of different restaurants. And it's basically video profiles for restaurants, which a lot of people think is the future of restaurant web marketing. Why not have a minute clip where you can actually see what that restaurant looks like from the outside, from the inside, talk to the chef, see a few dishes, see what the scene looks like. In 1 minute you can gain a better snapshot for that restaurant than you can from doing many other things that are out there right now. And again, that goes all into that one-stop restaurant marketing solution that we're working towards.
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah. So it's the consumer side, and it's becoming that arm of the restaurant marketing industry that is all-encompassing and provides them with the solution they need to drive business and to retain their current business. So we have an eye on monetization is the point. A lot of these websites out there just build it and hope one day they will come. We actually started as a company that creates a marketing solution for restaurants, and we learned to monetize before we even learned to build a website. So it's an interesting, spin and dynamic on the typical web play.
Good to have that financial background going into a business like this, I think.
I guess so.
Well, folks, you can learn more about Joe Ariel by visiting his website at www.eats.com, eats.com. And Joe, this was a lot of fun. I thank you and thank everybody in the web chat and everybody who listened. It was a very active, entertaining show for me, at least. I hope it was okay for everybody else. It was fun for me, Bob, and I appreciate being here. And anytime you are in New York, feel free to give me a call, and we'll set you up with some good reservations. We have a few connections here. I bet. Go get some hot pastrami together. I think that would be ideal. Katz's Deli, 3 blocks away. Best in the world. Joe, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for having me. All right. Bye-bye. Have a good one. So, folks, thanks for listening today. For dozens more celebrity and media newsmaker interviews, surf over to our main website, www.mrmedia.com. That's where you can listen to my previous conversations with the stars, writers, and producers of Star Wars, The Clone Wars, SpongeBob SquarePants, Moral Oral, The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, Heroes, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Army Wives, 24, The Big Bang Theory, Bad Santa, Tell Me You Love Me, The Dark Knight, Will Eisner's The Spirit, and many, 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 many others. And, of course, please think about writing an online review of Mr. Media, casting a vote for Mr. Media, or marking Mr. Media as one of your favorites, whether you listen on Blog Talk Radio, Digital Journal, Blueberry, Zencast, Odeo, Kindle, or iTunes. You can pretty much find Mr. Media everywhere these days. So again, thanks for listening. I appreciate when you take a little time out of your day to spend it with us. Hope you'll be back real soon.